So now we should be live here. Let me just upcoming. No, it should be live now. Yeah, live, and then let's swap out the thumbnail. Where can I find that? Bear with me. Yeah, here we go. Live. We'll just StreamYard live thumbnail. Yeah, bear with me a little bit here. We had to move the spot in the office. We're testing. I don't know. There's people that were coming up in there, and I didn't want to disturb them doing a live stream. Okay, so we are going to get back into pull up move that over a little bit. Move this into the middle. Okay. Actually, maybe I'll test in that other room. Hold on. Okay, we're in the other room here, and I'm testing the sound because I don't know how it sounds in here. Sounds fine. Okay, so we're gonna hold on. As you maybe can tell, this is not exactly a professional. This is not exactly professional as of yet. We are still working out the kinks of these live streams. Hopefully the audio sounds good in here. No, it doesn't. Just gotta make sure we don't. As long as the Wi-Fi is still good, we should be fine. So we don't creak here too. Creaking with the chair. Gotta make sure we don't do that. And we have to turn here. All right, so let's share. Where were we? Beckett release days. We've got a couple coming up. Oh, wow. You can hear that. You can hear it in the headphones. You can see how much of a debacle this is so far. We're probably just going to try and record a couple new segments here. Okay, so yeah, release days. Let's see. We got Topps Gold label, a higher-ish end set for Topps. I'm not a huge fan, to be honest, of the set really, but like you're probably going to find some good autos in there. The design, you know, across the years, the design has been okay. I think it's something that, you know, like with some of these higher end products that Topps comes out with, sometimes I feel like there's a weird line that they have to go between coming out with like a crazy and like maybe a good design and a design that's like simple that, you know, the autos can really stand out. So like Topps Gold label, I'm just going to check on eBay for hobby box. Actually, I guess this isn't super high end. I mean, $100 for a hobby box. In the box, you get 5 packs, 7 cards per pack. Actually not terrible. Let's see. I'm just going to click and see the set details. If the page will load, it's taking a little bit of a second here. It looks like, oh yeah, this is the one that has like the multiple different like classes. So like each of the base cards, it looks like it's kind of like Select actually in a way where it looks like class 1, 2, and 3. Actually, I'm just going to share my screen here. So class 1, 2, and 3 all have different odds that look like the odds all lower as you go into the different classes. So for example, like class 1, the base checklist is going to be 1 in every 2 packs you'll get a black, and then it looks like the odds are numbered out of 150 for the blue, and then for the blue in the class 2 it's 99, and then blue in the class 3 it's 50. So you know, but then there's gold throughout all of them, which I think is interesting. So I guess red is a good way to kind of tell. So it's like 75, 50, 25. Like I said, it's an okay set. I mean, for Topps, it's not super high end. It's kind of like in between. Let's see, 100 cards that came out the other day, 18 or 16 cards per case, boxes per case. Yeah. And then autographs, 1 in every hobby box. So you're guaranteed an auto in this product. Pretty decent. I mean, you know, with, I think it might be last year though. So it's last year's rookie class. So I guess Topps and Panini are kind of in the same boat right now when it comes to they're still releasing products from the previous year's rookie class. So like this, you'll probably find like Julio Rodriguez. I forget the other big name rookies. Bobby Witt will probably be in this set. But they're still releasing those 2022 rookies, even though 2023 Series 1 is out right now. But, you know, unfortunately, there are still some of these products that they have to release. I guess at what point, you know, when it comes to old products coming out, I don't know when they get to a point where it's like they just should scrap it. I guess they probably never will. They probably never will, to be honest. Like, and they'll never run into that scenario because it's like, if people are going to buy the product, they're going to make money from it. Like, and if the product's already made, there's really nothing they can do. Like, I would say if I were Topps or I were Panini, I would just release all the products at the same time and just wipe the slate clean. And then, you know, figure out what to like with, because for this product in specific, Topps Gold label isn't like a monster product that everyone's out there trying to get. It's it's like around $100. You can get like an auto. You can get some good base parallel cards, but it's not, like I said, it's not like a top tier rookie card that most people are chasing. So like if I'm Panini, or I mean, sorry, if I'm Topps, yep, see, it says it's not wait, 3 base sets. It's not like Panini Select where one of the large sets with different tiers. Here, the same 100 players and the same card numbers repeat 3 times. Oh, okay, so it's the same, but the thing that makes it different is that it's not a new set, or it's not a new set of cards. It's 100 cards, and then each class has 100 cards in the checklist for the number of players that are in there. No matter the class, base cards have 2 different photos that pair changes with each class. Additional parallels come in 5 levels. The main set, yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I wonder if they, it's kind of maybe the thing where it's like, I wonder if Topps could come out with this product and maybe they don't, maybe they use it as like a giveaway set or something like that. I mean, don't entirely scrap it, but figure out a way you can maybe partner with companies, or maybe figure out a way you could partner with, like, I don't know, Goldin or content creators or like hobby shops, and figure out a way that you can include this. Because if it's like, I wonder how many 2022 products there are left. I'm sure there's a way to look it up. I can't imagine there's too many left, to be honest. But it's like, at what point should they just be scrapping these products and just coming out with the next one? I don't know what the answer to that question is, but I feel like at some point they need to just do it. They just need to figure it out. So we're going to switch back to the list here. We got Panini Origins, which is essentially just Topps Inception. I mean, it is kind of crazy that, like, Origins and even the design of the product itself, I almost think that the designer switched companies at some point. Like the original, whichever product came out first, Origins or Inception, or the product manager or something, whoever came out with this idea first, the person who came up with the idea, I bet you just went to the other company, because they're the exact same product basically. Like it's like an auto hit product. It's very much for like breakers in a way. Like, it's kind of interesting. Like, breakers have 2 sort of types of products that, at least I think from my opinion, that they come out with that are sort of meant for them. You have the products with like a lot of base. You have the products with basically no base and yet have mostly autos. But the products with like a lot of base, those are going to be good for breakers. And then also the products like this, for example, like this or Inception, where they have like autos are kind of the main focus of the product, and it's only 1 pack per box. I would imagine this one too actually is probably even in that like $100 range. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, it's like, looks like, factory sealed 2 autos. I'm just looking at eBay. Yeah, I mean, I guess just the fact that these are like basketball, that's the reason why these are so expensive. Like, in my opinion, I don't see why that these ones should be $200 for like a box of 7 cards. Like, that seems pretty high. And I mean, I get that there's going to be autos and you're going to find these kind of maybe low numbered parallel cards, but like this product and Topps Inception are both like basically hit based, where you're going to get like 3 or 4, and in this case you're getting 6 base cards and then 1 autograph. I guess it's kind of a combination of all those types of things of why they come out with these types of products. The McDonald's All-American set is also coming out. I'm going to talk about that separately because I think that there's kind of a big thing that happened with that set specifically that I'm going to talk about a little bit later. Obsidian football is 7 cards per pack, so I guess it's kind of similar to Origins. I always thought Obsidian was a base product. This one is even more expensive. This one's in like the $420 range for a hobby box. I thought, I always thought Obsidian was a little bit more base heavy, but I guess not. Another one that's kind of made for hit-based breakers, I guess you could look at it. It is actually kind of expensive, so I even would be interested to know. I'd be interested to know, to be honest, who is the market for like Obsidian football, because like I just don't understand sometimes like who are the markets for some of these products, because it is like a hit-based product where there's going to be an auto or 2 autos in the box. But like, is that enough to really warrant like $420 for a hobby box, or like even some more, like 430, 450? Like, is that are two autographs or however many autographs? Let me actually just go back really quick and see if I can find how many autos are in this. Because Origins, I believe there was 2 autographs. This one must have like more than one. Let's see. Cards per pack, boxes. There's 242 cards. So it's like, so what you can expect: an autograph and memorabilia card. There's 4. Okay, so it's basically all autographs, and then an insert and parallel on 1 base card. So it's much more autograph heavy than it is base card heavy, which I guess I thought it was the opposite. Maybe that's just me not paying as much attention, honestly, to Obsidian compared to like some of the other base products. So, I mean, I guess you could say like 4 autographs per box. Essentially, you're paying $100 for autographs and hoping that you're going to get some big rookie that you can sell the auto for, make half of your money back. But like at the same time, like I just don't know who would be buying this type of product and hoping, like, I guess it's, if you are a gambler, and that's another thing that actually, so Cage is one of my good friends who I'm in like group chat with on Instagram. He put out a really good video that I want to talk about maybe on Saturday when I can do a little bit longer of a stream. But like he put out a video that I thought was really good about like people in the hobby and people in general just like gambling. So like that's basically what this product is. Like with 242 cards on the checklist, like that's, and it's with this class being so bad too. I'm actually even doubly surprised that this is selling for that $400 price tag. Like, you have Pickett, you got Brock Purdy, but like, if you get those 2 autos, are you really like that happy with the product? Like, I don't know. Like it's not something that I'm like a huge fan of. So it's never something that I would even think about buying in the first place. But either way, like that's what you got if you are looking to buy some Obsidian football. It's very hit based. It's the $400. Like I do also wonder, like with a product like Obsidian and it's $400, like where is the price of breaking kind of baked into the price of the hobby box? Because like if a breaker is trying to make some sort of profit or they're making anything off of this off of the hobby box, like maybe they do, let's just say there's 32 NFL teams. If they're doing, if it's a $400 box, let's say a breaker's trying to make, let's say they're trying to make, well, so actually we could even just double it. We could just say, so $20, I think. So 20, if you do like a team break and it's $20 per team, 20 times 32, you're making $640. So you're making like $100 if you sell out of that break, I guess, essentially. So like it is a product that maybe is meant more for breaking than it is for like actually consumption and buying, because like the gambling aspect of it, you have a much better chance of pulling a card that you can make your, if you bought, and in theory, if you're buying one spot, $20, your chances that you're going to be pulling an auto is not very high. But it's like, if you spend $100, maybe $200, like $200, that's going to get you 10 spots. So it's going to get you a third of the box. Like there's maybe a decent chance that you will get one of the good autos. Like if you're doing a random team break, and I actually don't know. Let's see, maybe. Okay, so that doesn't come out until Friday, but let me just go and see Mojo breaks, because I think let me see if they have any breaks on their site for this. Because if they do, I think maybe we get different pricing there. That would make sense. So football, let's see, they've got Prism, Obsidian. So yeah, $24. That's kind of what I was thinking, that $20 range, like for a $20. And actually that's pretty decent because you're getting a 6-box break too, a pick, and it's starting at 24. So it's pick your team. So it's not random teams. So obviously the more expensive teams, obviously the teams that have the rookies are going to be more expensive. So, like the Jets, that's probably one that's going to sell out pretty quickly. And it's going to be more expensive for sure. Like, let's see if they have any random teams, because a random team, I wouldn't be surprised. Actually, I'm just going to go to their site. Random team. Yeah, like I said, I mean, if they have random, I don't think they do, but like, so, and also if you're breaking, Mojo Breaks is the company that I have, I followed their podcast for a while, and these are pretty reputable guys, because I know we've had some issues in, the past couple of weeks with some non-honest breakers, to be completely honest, like doing some pretty sketchy things when it comes to like what they're doing in their breaks. So like these guys, I definitely suggest them. I mean, even doing live sports card breaks, like since 2010, I mean, that just kind of shows that they've been in the industry, great integrity. I definitely suggest going with them. And that's kind of just overall Obsidian. And then let's see. So NHL Stars rookie box. I don't know that much about, I know about like the Young Guns. I know about like the Cup, but for the most part, hockey is not necessarily my forte. So I'm going to stay away from that, actually. And then Panini Prism Premier League Soccer, which I'm actually going to pull up the 1-of-1 Haaland card was actually pulled already. Let's see if I can find the tweet really quickly. Pull that up. So it was pulled in China. Apparently they got the product early. Let me pull this up here. Yeah, let me pull this up. So like the 1-of-1 was pulled in China. I guess they got the product early. They kind of came out a day before. I don't know what the account was that pulled it, but from what I saw, the centering on this was actually pretty bad. And that might have been the photo that I was looking at. Like one of the sides was bad. And I saw some people saying like, oh, now the chase card is gone from the product, so no one's going to buy it. I mean, it's, I think there are still some good chase cards. Like this was probably the biggest card that's coming out of that product. But I mean, there are still going to be other players that people are trying to pull of the 1-of-1. I think the Haaland, within soccer in general, I think that there's an interesting kind of conversation about like what the rookie card is, what the card that you want to get is, because of the way that people move around. It's like, I wonder if like, I've thought this for a while, like, is there going to be like a first Premier League card, first Bundesliga card, first MLS card, first rookie card? Like, are all of these rookie cards going to eventually are there going to be a bunch of different cards that you want to get within soccer? But yeah, I mean, I think it's Prism Soccer, Prism Premier League, I think is cool. Panini has they have the Premier League license. They have the FIFA license. Topps has the UEFA license. So it's kind of interesting because it's like, soccer is interesting because it's one of the only sports where both companies come out with like licensed products with these players in licensed jerseys. So like there's a chance that like when Topps comes out with their Premier League, or when Topps comes out with their Champions League product, you're going to get another Haaland Topps Chrome card. So like that happened with Pulisic, that has happened with players in the past where they have a Prism and a Topps Chrome card, because the Topps Chrome, they're in the Champions League set, but then they're also in the Premier League set for Panini. So it's like they're in both. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of like with football back in like 2012, 2013 era, like when Topps was making both Topps and Panini were both making football cards. It's kind of similar. But yeah, so like I said, the top card, unfortunately, it looks like it was pulled. I mean, I say unfortunately, I don't think it's unfortunate. I think, I think it's good that, we're seeing that it was pulled, because if it was pulled and we didn't know about it, I think that's actually worse than it being pulled and us not knowing about it. The Luka card, I think, is an example from 2018 Prism. I'd say I'd probably 75% think that card has actually been pulled, and no one knows that it's been pulled because the person that pulled it maybe has a bunch of unopened 2018 Prism stuff. So yeah, I think we know it's been pulled. Maybe it affects the prices, maybe it doesn't. I guess it. Like I always say, who really knows, honestly. So we're gonna go back here, and then the last product that's on this list that's coming out, Panini Contenders Football. Very similar to my thoughts on Obsidian. I mean, obviously you're looking for that Contenders autograph. It is a base heavy product. This is another one that's kind of a breaker-ish product in a way, because you are getting like pick your teams, or you're getting like the randoms, and you're going to be able to get base cards. And then, the autos that are coming out of here. So this is the design. Let me actually just pull it up, because the I hated the design from last year, the Trevor Lawrence design. I'm going to pull that up too, just so I can compare it. So 2022 contenders, Trevor Lawrence. 2022 contenders. Maybe it might even have been. Oh, you know what? It's 2021. 2021 contenders. Trevor Lawrence. This design was like one of the worst contenders designs, unfortunately, that they've come out with in quite some time. Let me find a design to compare it to. Auto. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to pull up part of this Parsons one because this was last year's design, and I know it's optic contenders, but the design was the same. Actually, let me just go back here. Yeah, I understand that they were kind of going for maybe like it didn't switch. I get that they were maybe trying to go for like a futuristic kind of concept of tickets with like the QR code and the scan. But I just think that like with contenders, it just feels like it should be more of a simple design, and they maybe tried to do a little bit too much with it. I think realistically, that's what I have thought with some Panini designs. A lot of Panini designs actually in the past couple of years have really been like that, unfortunately. So yeah, I mean, contenders, it's a great product. I don't even really have that much to go on because I went over a lot of the football stuff, and like with Prism, I don't really have that much to talk about with contenders. It's a good product. I think, last year I think contenders doesn't matter about the design. People want the card because it is contenders. So it's like, it almost feels like they should be spending a little bit more time maybe on the design, but I don't know. I mean, like I said, it's fine. I think this year's is better than last year's. So yeah, those are the boxes that are coming out in the next, week or so for Panini, for Topps, all of those. And yeah, the Beckett, they've always put together a great list of all the boxes that are coming out for all the sports, basically. All right. Good. We got that out of the way. Got that topic. Oh man, okay. So we'll go into, let's see. Do I want to actually give my real opinion on this topic is the question that I will, I think. So we have the share to this tab. We have the Ken Goldin show coming out. We have a release date, April 28th. This is kind of where I'm tiptoeing around the line a little bit here. I haven't seen any trailers for this show, so I don't know necessarily what it's even about. I hope that it's about the hobby. I'm hoping that it's obviously going to be painting sports cards in a good light. I think we've seen some images with Ken Goldin and Peyton Manning. I'm hoping that they have, hobby shop owners, big names in the community in the show. Like I said, I haven't really seen much info on what the show is going to be about. My one concern is that it's going to just basically be like a puff piece for like Goldin, because the king of collectibles, the Golden Touch, that's obviously implying that it's going to be about Ken Goldin. I'm hoping that it's not just like a Last Dance documentary about Ken Goldin and all the stuff that he's done in the hobby. I think if that is the case, and that's what this show is about, there's going to be a lot of backlash, because I think you can Google stuff that Ken Goldin has done in the hobby. There's been some good stuff. There's been some bad stuff. I think that there is an equal amount of both. I don't necessarily think it skews one way or the other, but I think if this is a documentary about Ken Goldin, and only about Ken Goldin, then I don't know if people are going to really love it that much. I hope that it is more of like an exploration of sports cards and of kind of, I mean, I would even be fine if it was about Goldin auctions and kind of the cards that come into the auctions. Like, I think that would be a good idea for this. But if it's a documentary about him, I don't necessarily know if people are going to like it that much. Goldin got a bunch of money from, the sale of his company. So I'm hoping that I'm hoping that he wasn't just like, all right, I'm going to come out with a documentary about myself and just come out, I'm going to spend a bunch of money, come out with a Netflix, because I'm sure you can just pay Netflix to put something on their platform. So, I mean, we'll see, I guess, what exactly this is even about. I think if it's about the exploration into sports cards and the market and how things have changed in the industry, I think it could be really cool. I think if it's a puff piece about Goldin and Goldin auctions, I think it won't be really cool, to be completely honest. Like, I do think that there's going to be certain levels to it where if it's half and half, fine, whatever. I just really hope that they were able to, because there have been a bunch of good documentaries that have come out about sports cards recently. I think the One of One documentary, I believe that's what it's called. You can check that out on YouTube. I mean, even, I'm not going to, Bench Clear Media. I mean, they're another company that has spent a lot of production money on putting together like a phenomenal show on YouTube. And I mean, I know, I understand, I get that, Hobby Hotline is on Bench Clear Media. So like, maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I think at the same time, like if you're looking for really top tier quality content about sports cards and kind of in a documentary style fashion, I'm actually just going to pull it up too, because I think I want to make sure I'm giving the correct name about it as well. Bench Clear Media, because like I said, I don't know how many times I'm going to say it, or if I'm going to continue to say it, but we are building the history of the hobby right now. The history of sports cards is as we speak, and if it's all good, that's not good, to be completely honest, because I think it's important. There's an important story to be told on both sides of the spectrum of good and not good. And I think sure, it's important to paint sports cards, obviously, as an industry in a good light. So that way, when people come in, they're not skeptical about the whole kind of deal or whatever. But I also think that if we're just painting sports cards in a light that is everything is sunshine and rainbows, like that's also not good. I'm trying to find their it's either a playlist or it's not called the poll. I wonder why I can't find it here. I forget the exact name, but so Bench Clear Media, they put out a documentary, or they put out like a multi-episode documentary show about traveling and seeing sports cards that I think is really good, that I've watched a couple episodes. I think it might even be called like Traveling Cards. I feel like an idiot now that I can't figure this out. I knew. Yeah, I forget exactly what it's called, but Bench Clear Media, they Ty from, oh, you know what? Maybe that's who it was. Maybe it was Ty from, or maybe he does Bench Clear Media. I'm actually not 100% sure, but either way, I think, I definitely suggest finding it. Maybe I'll find it and I'll have to tweet it out or something, because, I don't think it's Bench Clear Media that. Let me see. Oh, this is it right here. This is the show. Maybe it's not on Bench Clear. I wonder. Chasing Cardboard. Oh my God. Okay, so Chasing Cardboard. That's why I couldn't find it, because it's on a different YouTube channel. I'm actually just going to switch the tab here. So Chasing Cardboard is the YouTube channel. Then I'm going to put the link in the comments I see right now. At me right there. And like I said, this is
Randy
the
Weaver,
channel that has
standoff with the FBI for almost 11 days.
Maybe I should like react to one of these documentaries or something. Put in the comments there. Chasing Cardboard, phenomenal documentary. phenomenal production around the whole everything that they're doing with this show. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I hope maybe they can eventually get a show on Netflix, or maybe they don't have to. Because I think the interesting thing, honestly, about social media nowadays is like, this is what Netflix is basically. Like this show, the way that they produce this show, it's basically Netflix, but it's free. So like, you don't necessarily really need to be on Netflix if you're trying to produce high quality. I mean, maybe the budget is obviously nicer, but if they even give you a budget, but like this is, I think that's one thing that is kind of overlooked when it comes to social media content. It's like people are so good at creating content that like now the gatekeepers, the Netflixes, the Hulus, you don't have to go and you don't have to have a show on Netflix for your show to be popular. You can make the show and put it on a YouTube channel. And then you're also making all of the economics of the show. Like you don't have to pay Netflix. Like I'm sure if, Netflix gives you a budget, then that's going to help you with the show. But like if you have the budget and you're able to produce the show, like just go out and make the show. Like don't be worried that, other shows or whatever have these big budgets. Like these guys, I'm not sure what their budgets are, but like I said, they are phenomenal at producing the content. So it's like, maybe it's something where, I don't know, maybe it leads to an opportunity for them. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But like, if you're looking for a really good sports card show, I definitely suggest going to check these guys out. Because like I said, they, phenomenal show put together. For the Ken Goldin show, I mean, my last point will just be like, I think and like I said earlier in this kind of video putting together, is like, if the show is 100% about Ken Goldin, I think it could be interesting, but I think that there is much better of an opportunity if you're highlighting cards in this show than if it's just about like Ken Goldin and all of his stuff that he's doing. I guess if it's about Goldin auctions and cards that are going on there, that'll be really cool. But I don't know. I haven't seen any other info or any other trailers about the show. So I'm going to maybe leave my judgment, and my opinion on everything could change very drastically depending on what happens with what the show ends up being about, I suppose. Another big name in this hobby, and I think this will probably be the last topic I'm going to talk about on this second part of the live stream, let me pull up their other tweet here, is our guy, Michael Rubin, was out at the Chicago Sports Spectacular. I think he has been at the last few nationals, so like he, knows his way around card shows. I think that within sports cards, we don't really understand how famous Michael Rubin really is, and what a good businessman he is. And being a good businessman doesn't mean that's necessarily 100% good for the hobby. I think we've seen Fanatics and some of their business moves hurt the hobby, so that way Fanatics can kind of come in and build a little bit more than maybe, like, they came in when Topps was going to go public and they bought the licenses, so that way now Topps is really only their biggest asset is nothing now. Like, they don't have the assets, so like their whole reason for going public is really nothing. And then they come over the top and grab the other licenses. I think that Fanatics is making a play to bring in LeBron James somehow, because they signed Bronny James to an NIL deal. They bring in Omar Wilkes from Clutch Sports, which is like, that's LeBron's agency. Yes, it's Rich Paul's agency, but that's who LeBron, they made it together. So, I think that within sports cards, we don't realize how famous Michael Rubin really is. He is like, if you're looking at like sports business, he's kind of like the poster boy for like sports business right now, like in America in 2023. Michael Rubin is one of the biggest, if not the biggest sports businessman right now not in the industry, I suppose. And, he is the guy who is going to be in charge of essentially what's going to happen with sports cards over the next 10 years or so. I don't know, I don't know I don't know what their full goals are long-term. Like if we're looking 20, 25 years down the road, like is Fanatics going to, I guess they wouldn't really sell Topps. Cause like now that they own Topps, they kind of own what sports cards kind of are. So it's like, I don't know, maybe they sell, I guess, no, maybe they probably wouldn't sell Topps. Maybe they, I don't know, release them from some contract or something. I don't necessarily know 100% what 20 years down the road sports cards are going to look like, but at least for the next 5 to 10 years, Fanatics is going to be involved, and Michael Rubin is going to be sort of at the helm of what happens within this industry. I mean, we have seen some good stuff that Fanatics has done. They became sort of the monopolizer. I don't know if that's the word I'm really looking for, but they became one of the heads of memorabilia and autograph space. So it's like we've kind of seen that growing a little bit. So I just hope that, within sports cards, I hope that Michael Rubin cares a lot about it, I guess. And that's I feel like that's kind of an obvious statement, but I think going to this show was actually a really big deal. Sports cards we've had big names and faces of the industry, but we haven't had someone like Michael Rubin who is in the trenches, at these shows. And granted, I would be interested to know if anyone was at this show, if they saw Michael Rubin for a long time at the show, or if they just went out and they filmed this video and then they left. I don't think that they would do that. I mean, I feel like that would have kind of come out already. But like I said, Michael Rubin was out there with, Omar Wilkes and a bunch of other the Fanatics people. So, it's good to see that they're in the trenches. They're trying to find, I guess, more information about the hobby. They're trying to figure out more. I'm just going to play the video and let's see what Michael Rubin has to say, I guess, here too.
Hey, it's Michael Rubin.
Mike Mayhem. This is Ken Turner. Omar Wilkes.
Tucker Kane.
Biggest takeaway from the Chicago Sports Spectacular, the passion of the fans. There's so much opportunity here to create a fan experience like no other.
Biggest thing I think when I'm here is there's so many incredible sports fans. We have to do better for them. We have to give them just the best possible experience.
Bring more entertainment to this hobby, bring a better experience for our collectors and our fans.
This place is amazing. I can imagine what it could be, 5, 10 years from now, and that's what's really exciting.
We got to do a better job bringing in diverse human beings here, making it cooler. I know that's broad in general. Also, organization and layout. Everything's kind of a free-for-all.
Bring people closer to the athletes, bring people closer to the cards. A lot to do, a lot more to come.
Hey.
Now, I'm not going to lie here. A lot of what they said sounds like if you were to honestly, a lot of what they said sounds like if you were to open up ChatGPT and be like, what are some sports card buzzwords and how can we make the industry better? It does sound kind of like that. I mean, it is really good marketing speak, but at the same time, it's it is a lot of what people really want, to be completely honest. It is a lot of I think that they are not out of touch with the hobby, which I think is really important. And I think being front facing like this is also really important for the industry because it shows that the people who have the industry in the palm of their hands, they're the ones that are going to be controlling this stuff. They're the ones that know, and they have a good idea of what can be fixed and how to fix it. And they have kind of concepts and shows and all of these things that they want to put together. And like I said, I think a lot of what they said is really, I think of what they said as a lot of people would agree with a lot of the stuff that they said. And it's good that they're all out there. It's not just some intern trying to gather data. It's Michael Rubin, the CEO of Fanatics, out on the floor, conversing, taking pictures, meeting people. It's I really like it. I am a fan of Michael Rubin overall. And I think I don't know. I'm interested, what other people think of him, like if they like him, if they don't. I mean, I don't know. He has come out in interviews and said a lot of things that when he says the things that he says, I'm like, I agree with what he's saying. So I guess my overall thoughts on him is that I like the stuff that he's doing. I like the stuff that he's saying. I think I think when it comes to business talk, it can be very cheap. So I think, again, I want to maybe wait until we get a year or two into the other licenses to really show or to really see if Fanatics is doing what's best for the hobby and doing what's best for the business, or if they're really just focusing on what's best for the business and what's, whatever the best thing that they can do for investors or for people trying to come in or how they can make money. But I think, like I said, so far, Michael Rubin has done a really good job at telling people sort of what they want to hear, honestly, in the hobby. And I think I like, the one thing he said recently that I think caught a lot of people's attention was that he's trying to 10X the hobby. And then I think when you look at the actions of that 10Xing, I think that they have done a good job at that. Like, I think that the Bowman product, I think was a really smart idea. I think, there have been other things that I've seen. I think the Bowman is really the kind of the big thing, in my opinion, of things that I've seen that I think I really like what they're doing. But if they want to continue, I think that they're going to have to try and maybe find these smaller niche kinds of people or collectors or, people within that are interested in sports, but maybe they're not into sports cards. Maybe they're diehard fans of sports, but I don't know, maybe they don't love sports cards. But if you're a college football fan, in my opinion, you should be able, if you're Fanatics and you're trying to 10X the hobby, you're trying to 10X the hobby, that's probably one of the good places that I would look. I think maybe it's getting other pop culture licenses, maybe it's getting a Disney license. I don't know. Disney has done, PSA just announced that they're going to be grading some of those Chinese Phantom Disney 100 years of Disney cards. So I think, for that, that's an example of maybe Fanatics comes in and says, hey, Disney, let's make these Topps cards or something or maybe they buy, I don't know, maybe they buy the Phantom company, or maybe they buy that Japanese company that came out with Pixar cards last year. Maybe they buy those companies, and then that's how they come out with more of these cards, or more Disney or Pixar or anything along those lines. I mean, I think finding audiences that have finding audiences that have not had cards really catered toward them is really how I think that they're going to 10X the hobby the way that they're saying that they want to. Creating maybe one-on-one experiences within the hobby to really create diehard fans. I think that's another way that they could probably 10X the hobby. I've said this on other podcasts. I think one of the things that I think about when I think about becoming a sports fan is I remember the games that I got to meet players, or, special things happen within players. You don't remember the random game that you just went, you grabbed a couple hot dogs, you grabbed a beer, and then you left in the 7th inning. You remember when you remember if you met the player on the field before pregame or something along those lines. And that's just from a sports perspective, not really sports cards. But I think figuring out how to create those one-on-one experiences is going to create diehard fans. And I think, especially if it's if you can double it down, where it's college fans, for example, if you can find a way to, within sports cards, to create an experience for them, and then also create some other sports experience, you're doubling down on creating a diehard fan for sports cards. So if Fanatics can do that, I think that they're in a really good spot. If they're really trying to 10X the hobby the way that they're saying that they want to. Ended up not going so bad. I do kind of wish I didn't have to move from upstairs, but it's okay. I have been wearing a black shirt and my beard sometimes. It's dirt. But that's it. I mean, I hope the audio sounds okay. I think it does. I guess we'll see. But that is all I've got for today's episode. We'll be back on Saturday. I don't know if we'll be here. I don't know if we'll be upstairs, wherever, but either way, we'll be back Saturday. Got a bunch of other topics we're going to talk about. Really appreciate everybody coming back that was watching on the previous stream after I had to end it kind of a little bit abruptly. Thank you all, and I will see you in the next one.